Hello and welcome to episode 41
of Mo Money,
the investing show for millennials by Millennial, where our goal is to educate, entertain, and empower a new generation of investors. I am, of course, the host, the guide, the master of ceremonies, the MC Mo. This week we are talking about war! Good God! What is it good for? Well, besides giving us endless stories about which to write movies, stopping the Nazis, or giving us access to oil fields that we would previously not been able to get to, absolutely nothing! But I'm not talking about the bang bang bombing bloody type of war. No, this week's topic is trade wars, which in terms of excitement falls somewhere between the real actual war and say like storage war and cupcake wars. I watched storage wars once, complete waste of my life. Never watched cupcake wars, but I imagine like all cooking shows, it sucks. Because why would I want to sit there and watch people make delicious food that I'm never gonna get to eat? It's like watching sex tapes of celebrities that, hey, guess what? I'm never gonna get to have sex with. Hard pass on that. Anyways, as you may have guessed, today's episode has been brought to you by the color orange and the number 2. Ever since he started running for president back in 2015, Mr. Orange Pooface has been talking about our atrocious trade deals and how we've been getting taken advantage of for far too long. As we discussed in episode 39, he may have a point. They're not the best, but his idea for fixing the situation, of course, is not the best either. Trump's idea for tackling trade problems with countries, specifically China and Mexico, has been talking about enforcing tariffs. Like we discussed in episode 39 when talking about trade, tariffs are a form of protectionism designed to keep out competition from foreign companies and to protect domestic companies. A quick example, just to remind you, there's a Chinese cell phone selling in America for $80 and an American cell phone which is being killed by the Chinese cell phone which is selling for $90. So in order to protect the American cell phone, a 30% tariff is imposed on the Chinese phone, raising its price to $104, thus making the American phone more attractive, although none the more inexpensive. But it does save the prestigious American cell phone manufacturing jobs. So what exactly is a trade war? How does one start? What is their goals? And are we in one already? There's many examples to look to throughout history. There was the British trade restrictions, which led to the War of 1812, Canadian-American trade war after the Civil War, and there was the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act of 1930 that didn't start out as a trade war, but more or less became one. And although it would be hard to put the blame on this act for causing the Great Depression, it certainly worsened the already pretty bad economic situation within the USA. Willis Hawley and Reed Smoot, which right off the bat sound like the names of two guys who would come up with an awful plan. They were congressmen that introduced the bill, so of course they got the bill named after themselves. As is usually the case, the act was passed with good intentions. The intentions were protecting the American workers and inspiring confidence in a time of economic uncertainty, but also, as is usually the case, they didn't really know what they were doing or the consequences of the act. Act was basically a clusterfuck of tariffs on products from every country across the world. As you can guess, the rest of the world was not happy about their move to block their products, so they put tariffs on the United States exports as well. US imports sank 60% in 4 years. Unemployment went from 8% to 20%. Nobody benefited from this act. It was a stupid mistake that apparently we have not learned the lessons from yet. Because here we are in 2017, Trump is talking about terrific tariffs. So let's start first with our friends to the south. Mexico, a longtime ally. They gave us tacos, they gave us Texas, they gave us guacamole, La Bamba, and the amazing Bamba of Yanet Garcia. But here we are on the verge of building a literal fucking wall and an economic wall around our two great nations. Now Trump is talking about invading Mexico with our army to destroy drug cartels and imposing a 30% tariff on their exports. He says the tariffs will be Mexico's way of paying for the wall, thus proving either he is an idiot or he thinks that Americans are. Imposing a tariff to pay for the wall would mean Americans would be paying with their own money. So if you're paying $20 already for Modelo, which is fucking expensive, soon you could be paying $26. The extra $6 is going towards the wall. All I know is I'm not paying an extra $6 for my number 3 favorite beer to pay for some stupid wall. Mexico is our 3rd largest trading partner. Not only do we trade finished products, we also trade parts both our companies need to build things. If there's a tariff on everything, then everything is going to be more expensive. This tariff is not going to shake up Mexico's economy so badly that they're going to break and agree to pay for the stupid wall. We'll both be broken. Will this lead to a real war between our countries? Highly unlikely, though it will will severely damage ties. So let's get to our frenemies across the Pacific, our largest trading partners, China, who gave us, well, pretty much everything that's on our shelves in our stores. The majority of the products that we import are from them, while we export a significantly less amount to them. Trump has been pretty outspoken against China even during his campaign, claiming they don't play by the rules, that they're extreme protectionists, and that they're currency manipulators. Now, to say we don't need China or they don't need us is ridiculous. We have a very dysfunctional, symbiotic relationship with them. We need them for their cheap consumer products because we love to buy. We also need them because outside of U.S. institutions, they are the largest financer of our debt. They need us because we buy all of their stuff. Sure, they could sell it elsewhere, but we buy the most. Nobody could fill that void for them. So what are the things that China does to cheat us? Trump has accused them of currency manipulation, meaning the Chinese government has been intentionally weakening the value of their currency in order to keep their imports cheap and keep the capital flowing in so they can continue to grow. Also, China still has a pretty communist country, so they have many corporations that are actually state-owned. Therefore, they are state-subsidized. Take, for instance, their steel industry, who can sell steel for prices way below the average market price of American steel, because even if the Chinese steel company loses money by selling their products so cheap, the government picks up the tab. This can easily undercut American companies and put them out of business. Finally, China is known for stealing the technology from American and other foreign companies, either by just straight up stealing it, or by buying American companies for their technology, or by forcing American companies who want to come build in China to partner with a Chinese company. These are just a few things, but they obviously have a large impact. This is what Trump wants to fight against, or at least he says he does. Who really knows what's going on in there? But for the hypothetical purpose of this episode, let us just pretend that he actually cares about China's unfair trading practices. It's always impossible to tell when Trump does something, if it's a cunning long play or it's just stupidity. Trump recognized this week the One China policy, aka that Taiwan and all these other islands are not independent from China, but they are a part of it, which was sort of an olive branch to China. So was Trump's strategic move to get China to the negotiation tables, or is he just abandoned the whole being tough on China thing? Again, we don't know. But let's say it's a long play strategy. Trump gets them to the negotiation table and they decide to change absolutely nothing and they just say, fuck you. The first thing Trump would probably do is announce that China are currency manipulators, basically saying that they cheat the system with their currency, which could send shockwaves through the market. People may dump Chinese currency on such a claim from the US. Then Trump follows it up with placing tariffs on all Chinese imports. All of a sudden, everything from cars to iPhones to things that you purchase at Walmart are suddenly more expensive. This would be an attempt to hopefully bring back jobs to America that they have stolen due to Chinese market practices. But the Chinese would not cave. Most likely, they would just begin by dumping their $1 trillion worth of US treasuries in the market as a warning, causing people to lose their faith in the United States. Then, they might impose their own tariffs on US goods, which would hurt our economy. Then they might seize US companies' assets in China and then just kick them out. If this continued for long enough, things could get bad. Hundreds of thousands of jobs would be lost due to our losing our largest trading partner. The poor who depend on cheap foreign goods would be unable to afford things, and most likely tensions between both our countries would be high. Most likely China would fare better in a tough economic stalemate because they're communists, so they're pretty much just used to miserable living standards while we are used to higher standards of living. If things went south in the economy, we would be more at Trump's neck than we already are. If a trade war breaks out, this is the best case scenario, that we just get really pissed at Trump. The worst case scenario is that both our countries get so pushed to the edge due to the economic turmoil that a fight breaks loose. China could start acting aggressively towards South Korea, Taiwan, Japan, stealing their land, blocking their ships, interrupting their trade routes, and next thing you know, we have to come to our allies' defense, and then of course, this would most likely lead to war. This is a possible scenario. This situation is very delicate. It needs a cool head, a long-term vision, and a good negotiator. The threats with Mexico are just Trump being an idiot and being a bully. The possibility of a trade war with them is highly unlikely. But China is another story. They are very volatile, and one sign of aggression could turn into a trade war and possibly a full-blown war. The Chinese are fragile and must be handled with care. We cannot hurt them without hurting ourselves. Therefore, we must find a way to level the playing field for our companies and consumers within China and stop letting so many transgressions and breaking of rules slide. Like I warned before, like in a real war, nobody wins a trade war. One side is just less devastated than the other. If there is one time when I need Trump to actually do something great, it's when dealing with China and trade. If he's anything short of great, it could be catastrophic. Thank you so much for watching another episode of Mo Money. Find all our previous episodes right here on YouTube. For now, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and share. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. Like me on Facebook. Look out for themomoneyshow.com. Mo Money, signing out.
Time out.